I mean, well, let's don't wishy-washy about it. Is the NFL scripted or is it not?
Man, I think they got billions of reasons to have an interest in who's there.
Is the NFL scripted? And I'm going to yell it a little louder because I don't think you heard
Okay.
me. Is
Okay.
the NFL scripted or is it not?
Absolutely. There you go.
Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, so you're a flat earther, NFL scripted.
No, I'm
So we're
not.
going all the way that way.
I'm
All
not
the way
getting
with
into
the
all the other
conspiracy theory.
conspiracies, but sometimes when you start labeling yourself sports entertainment and there's billions of dollars on the line, I don't believe there's not some people, blowing some wind in the sail to make the boat move, if that makes sense.
Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome back to Big B Daily. This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. We are live on YouTube. What's going on, YouTube? We're live on TikTok. What is happening, people? What is going on? Today, man, we got some good stuff today. Look, the NBA came back last night. NBA's got some work to do. After that debacle of an All-Star game, the NBA's got some work to do. They got work to do. Jokic how good is that guy really? Got a triple-double last night, has a triple-double against every team in the league now, except for the team he plays for. How good is he? And then we're going to dive into the top 5 NFL wide receivers of all time. We don't do a list of 10. We always just do a list of 5. So we appreciate that. Then we'll bring some people up on TikTok. If anybody wants to come up after that, we'll bring you up and we will go from there. But otherwise, we appreciate it. One thing is, everybody on TikTok, keep tapping that screen, man. Keep tapping the screen. We need at least 5,000 likes, 30 new follows. We appreciate it. So, and then if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe. Also on TikTok, click on the YouTube link in the bio. Subscribe to Big B Sports Talk over there. Come join the live stream. A lot of things that you get access to that you wouldn't get access to otherwise. Let's get into the show, people. So the first thing is the NBA came back last night. Look, there's a lot of stuff as far as the NBA is concerned after that debacle of an All-Star game or All-Star weekend in general. They got some making up to do for us. They got to make up some stuff, man. So we appreciate it that they're back playing, but the NBA's got some making up to do. So my man Kyle says they need to cancel All-Star Weekend. I don't think they need to cancel it. They just need to tweak it. Look, All-Star Weekend is still a great weekend. It was just bad this year. It's usually not horrible, but this year it was. They need to just make some tweaks, just like anything. Anything needs some tweaks, some fine-tuning. Doesn't mean you should cancel it. Just means you got to change some stuff. So that's just my thing. They just got to change some stuff. Got to change some things around. I know, Kyle, you don't like LeBron. We get it, man. We get it. So, but the All-Star game, winner of the All-Star game getting home court mark, I don't know. I think if they just go back to the target score, I think that changes a lot. I think that makes it way more competitive. I do. If they go back to the target score, that'll make it more competitive. The NFL didn't cancel Pro Bowl weekend just because the Pro Bowl game itself was horrible. They made some changes. People love it. So, people love it. So, just got to tweak some stuff. That's all. But for what we see on the court, the actual basketball games, getting back, to me, it's always a weird time for the NBA right now. It's like when the NFL season is over, it's like they only gave us a week before the All-Star game. Once, the Super Bowl, what was there, 2 weeks in between? Then they had the All-Star game. But now, are we paying more attention to the NBA? Or is everybody's focus shifted to college basketball because March Madness is right around the corner? For me, personally, I like March Madness better than I like the NBA. That's just me. But the NBA is back. There were still some good games. And let's not kid ourselves. It's still the best basketball in the world. People want to say that the NBA is trash and it's garbage. If you like basketball and you just like watching basketball, it's the best basketball in the world. Period. So it just is. Now, do they always play like it, especially in an all-star game? No, but these are the best basketball players in the world. So, and there's still good basketball being played. Who is your all's favorite team? Let me ask that. I'm a guy that doesn't have a favorite team. I don't have a favorite team. I like players. I didn't grow up with a favorite team. I never did. So for me, it wasn't one of those, well, I love this team. I follow players, which is tacky. I know I'm tacky, but at least I'm just speaking the truth. I never had an NBA team. I was much more into college basketball than I was the NBA. I grew up in Louisville. Louisville was very, very dominant as a college basketball city. So I grew up a college basketball fan, and we watched the NBA, but wasn't that big of a fan of an NBA team. So was not that big of a fan of an NBA team. A lot of people, yeah, I like that. Brenton said, bring back the Sonics. Bring back the Sonics to Seattle. And here's a thought. They keep talking about expansion. Does anybody, and I'm going to ask you guys, and I want you guys to just answer honestly like you always do. Do you think the NBA should expand or just move a franchise? Because if the NBA expands, they're making a huge mistake. Huge, huge mistake. The league, in my opinion, is already watered down. I mean, look at a team like Charlotte. First of all, there shouldn't be an NBA team in Charlotte. That's number one. But number two, LaMelo Ball, and we only know him, and he's good. Don't get me wrong. LaMelo Ball is good, but he can't stay healthy. But what are they doing out there? Like, what purpose are they serving out there? They could easily move, and there be some fans that maybe are upset, but they don't care. That's a college basketball place. I mean, what are we doing? Move Charlotte. And somebody talking about they've won 5 straight games. What about the 10 years previous? What are they building? Give me a break. There you go, Chuck. Move Charlotte to Vegas. Move them to Vegas. Then it would actually become a free agency destination spot where guys would want to go and play. But nobody wants to go and play in Charlotte. What star is like, you know what? I can't wait to go play at Charlotte. I'm going to go sign with Charlotte. Nobody. But they would in Vegas. Not to mention, nobody's going to the games in Charlotte either. That's another thing. Nobody's going to those games. But I think if they expanded, if they had an expansion in the NBA, I think that's a huge mistake. That is a huge mistake. So I don't think they should do it at all. I think they just need to move for Andy. You want to move a team to Seattle? I'd be okay with that. Move Memphis. Move Memphis to Seattle. I'd be okay with that. I know they want to have a presence in Toronto or in Canada, but would anybody be upset if they moved the team from Toronto to Seattle? I wouldn't. I know Toronto's got some stuff, but I'm just throwing stuff out there. Now they're not going to move Oklahoma City back. I mean, Oklahoma City, the people go. People go to those games. I could see if Oklahoma City and nobody was going, but people go to Oklahoma City games. Not to mention they're about to build a brand new arena. They They're making money in Oklahoma City. And you talk about building. I mean, Oklahoma City is the definition of building. So nobody cared when the Grizzlies left Vancouver. There you go. That's my whole thing about Toronto. Toronto's a big city. I think a lot of people in America maybe not know that. Toronto's a big city with a lot going on. NBA franchise being there probably means something. Don't get me wrong. But them leaving, I don't know. If they left, I don't know that would be that big of a deal. Over on YouTube, we got a comment from Darren Howard. A few teams need to move. What are the destinations? Vegas, Tampa, Seattle. I don't know about Tampa. I mean, you can't get people to go to the baseball game in Tampa. Now, there's some circumstances of that. They got it in the wrong spot, and the arena or the baseball field is horrendous in Tampa. But if they actually put the team in Tampa, that might make a huge difference. Because the one thing I do know, the hockey team is in Tampa, and people go to those games. People go to those games, that hockey team in Tampa. They're good as well. So I think if you put a basketball team in actual Tampa, people would go. Vegas, absolutely. Seattle, absolutely. But expansion is not the answer. Expansion is not the answer. My man Ryan Krause on YouTube, he says Vegas, Seattle, or Kansas City. Kansas City wouldn't be the answer either. Although I think you would get some of those fans in Kansas City that, hey, we don't have a basketball team, so we'll just latch on to KU. I think some of those fans would flip over and be a fan of the team. I just don't think there's other spots. Let me just say that. It's not that Kansas City is horrible. There's just other spots before Kansas City. In my opinion. I believe that. Well, Can says Vancouver doesn't care about basketball. They're a hockey town. No, you're right. They didn't. They didn't bat an eye when they left. Probably welcomed that they left. So, what about moving the Clippers and giving them a revamp in another city? Absolutely not. I mean, first of all, the Clippers are building a state-of-the-art arena that'll be open next year. That's number one. But number two, nobody's leaving Los Angeles. And the Clippers can be second-class citizens in that city. But that's fine. You be second-class. You're going to be behind what? You're definitely going to be behind the Lakers. You're going to be behind the Dodgers. Probably the Rams. You're not going to be behind the Chargers. So let them get in the pecking order, but the Clippers will be fine. Because when they open that new arena, I mean, you just go to Staples Center, the Clippers are getting a good audience. So, no, you don't leave there. Now, Chuck Miller says on TikTok move Orlando. I wouldn't be opposed to that either. The arena's bad. It's in a bad area. You could move them. But the team's getting better. But the problem with Orlando is there's no real fans. Like, most people that go to Orlando Magic games are tourists. You know what I'm saying? That are there for a different reason. And, hey, let's go to a Magic game. There's no real fan base. So, but oh well. What do you say? Oh, it's not Staples Center anymore? Yeah, it is to me, Gavin. It's always going to be Staples Center to me. Yeah, the Clippers are definitely doing better than the Lakers, but that doesn't mean anything. The Clippers could win the NBA title for the next 5 years. 5 in a row. Los Angeles is a Lakers town. Period. End of story. So, period. End of story. But yeah, NBA is back. Expansion of the NBA, I think, would be a horrible mistake. Just move some franchises. That's all you got to do. I know they don't want to necessarily do that. Move some franchises, man. Just do that. You'll be fine. You will be fine. Ooh, Mike DeRuler says, move the Wizards back to Baltimore. Nah, that's never going to happen. And that would be a horrible mistake. Look, we can love Baltimore, but what would you rather be in, Baltimore or DC? I'm not saying either is ideal, but I would rather be in DC versus Baltimore. So it's hard in small markets, says our man Golf Hawk. Glad you made it back, Golf Hawk. I know the time switch of the show made it difficult, but I appreciate you finding us, my man. And it is hard in small markets, but you can make it work. You can definitely make it work. So, but it is definitely more difficult for small market teams, but you can absolutely make it work. So, question over here on TikTok says, do you think anyone needs to move in the NFL? Jacksonville. I know they're planning on building it. Maybe they've already started construction on whatever they're doing, but anytime you got to tarp off sections in your stadium because nobody's sitting there, you need to move. Jacksonville absolutely should move. First of all, there shouldn't even be a team in Jacksonville. Let's just start there. Why did Jacksonville, Florida need an NFL franchise? I mean, why? They've had one Super Bowl there. What is the purpose of having a franchise in Jacksonville? And I know that some people are going to say, well, you could say that about a lot of places. Okay, but those were already established places. Jacksonville was not. And look at the results. Nobody goes to the games in Jacksonville. And it isn't because they always stink, because they don't. Their team is pretty good right now. They're an average team. And they still have to tarp off top sections of their stadium because nobody's going to go. So that would be my thing. Is I think, yeah. And Redneck Patriot says Carolina. I don't know about Carolina because I feel like Carolina has a fan base. But, I get it. I didn't understand the move when they brought Jacksonville and Carolina in to begin with. I didn't understand that move. But Carolina at least is working. Jacksonville's not working. Hell, how many games does Jacksonville give away home games so they could have a game overseas because they're going to make more money from an overseas game than they will at a home game at your own venue? That alone should let you know that that's ridiculous because Jacksonville, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Said Jacksonville will probably end up moving to England. I get it, but it's crazy. My man Rico said Jacksonville Bulls led the USFL in attendance the last 2 years. Well, they need to start pushing some of those people over to NFL games. So they need to move those people to start showing up to NFL games. Because if you're tarping off your arena, that means nobody's showing up. So it's crazy. It's crazy. 1985 is what my man Rico says. And I think you're right, Rico. That's what led them to get a team, is because everybody looked at what they were doing then. I remember that now. You're 100% correct. Oh. Well, they got to change. It's not working because nobody's going to those games. So let's move on, people. Let's move on. So Jokic. How good is he, man? I mean, are we okay with saying he's the best player in the league? Because I am. I tried to fight it last year with Embiid, and I was fine with Embiid getting the MVP because to me, his season was better. And if Embiid didn't get hurt this year, and kept going the way he was going, I would have been okay with giving Embiid the MVP this year. But Jokic is just on another planet, man. He just, yeah. Embiid was on a tear before the injury. He absolutely was, Gavin. He absolutely was. So I'm fine with saying that that Embiid would have won it, but Jokic is just that guy. So Jokic is just that guy. I mean, he is just a point center that can do it all, but is about as athletic as me. Can't jump, doesn't run fast, but he understands angles. He understands positioning. He can shoot the basketball. He can handle the basketball. He is what they call a basketball player. Not enough of that. Not enough of that going around in the NBA. He is a basketball player. So, Joker over here on TikTok, Joker is extremely fundamental. Jamal is the what? The sauce that makes them run. No, he's not. Don't say Jamal Murray is better and makes the Nuggets run. Stop that. Stop it. Jiminy Christmas. If you take Joker off of that Nuggets team, do they make the playoffs? I mean, just ask yourself, do they make the playoffs? They have no inside presence. They had nothing. So do they even make the playoffs without him? Stop all the – and we've seen them make the playoffs without Jamal Murray. I'm not saying they're as good a team, but they didn't make the playoffs without Joker. They did without Jamal Murray. Let's go. Let's stop the craziness, people. We love Jamal Murray. Great basketball player. He's not in the same class, though. And we got to stop doing that. My man, Golf Hog. Jokic is excellent. Very little athleticism. Basketball IQ is elite. Yes. He is a basketball player with an elite basketball IQ. So that's the thing. Joker is the core of the team. Yes, he is. I like basketball players. That's what I like. And I think maybe that's why I get a little disenfranchised with the NBA, is because there's a ton of athletes out there. A ton of them. Best athletes in the world, in my opinion, for what they do. And I know somebody's going to come in here and say, oh, there's better athletes and this and that. Yeah, okay. As far as what they do, I think pound for pound, the best athletes in the world are in the NBA. They just are. So, and hey, what's going on, Charlie? And for what they do, they're just not great basketball players. And I think if they spent more time on fundamentals, they could become better basketball players. Just think about that. Just think about if AAU, because AAU is what's ruining the NBA. Let's not kid ourselves. If AAU basketball just said, you know what? We're going to practice. We're going to make you work on fundamentals. And you had to do those kinds of things. Put those kinds of fundamentals with the athletic specimens that these guys, man, it's crazy. Crazy, but we don't do that. We put an emphasis on getting out there and playing and showing everybody how athletic you are. Okay. But you always notice the best basketball players, even in the NBA, the best ones all have fundamentals. All can do a lot. They can dribble. They can pass. They can shoot. They understand angles. They understand how to play the game. You always notice those are the best guys. Always. Those are the best guys. Say what you want about LeBron. You can hate LeBron. You can think he's this. You can think he's that. Okay, whatever. But if you break all that away, all that hate that you have for him, and you just talk about him as a basketball player, he's been able to be good because as his athleticism has eroded, he's still able to be extremely productive on a basketball court. Why? Because he's a basketball savant. Joker, basketball savant. I mean, look at Luka, basketball savant. Luka's not athletic at all, but who can stop him? Nobody. And I just love basketball. Love it. Love basketball players. So then you got people, see what I'm talking about. You got people like Boss Man. LeBron can't shoot, barely dribble, just power. slams the ball. No skill. That would be somebody who doesn't understand basketball, who doesn't understand anything, but just came in here because he hates me, but I love him. He comes in here to hate on me every day. We love those people because he comes in and says Kansas State loses to backup quarterbacks, but he comes in here every day. You got to love your haters just like you love your fans, don't you? Got to love your haters like you love your fans. Yeah, strong fundamentals are a necessity in basketball to be the best. I shouldn't say it's a necessity to play because it isn't. You can be extremely gifted and extremely skilled at certain things, but all the fundamentals you don't have to have. I mean, look at Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown would be the perfect example. Jaylen Brown can't dribble with his left hand, but Jaylen Brown has the biggest contract in the history of the NBA. Think about that for a second. We're talking about fundamentals, and we got a guy that has the biggest contract in the history of the league that if in the playoffs, when teams make him go left, he literally can't do it. He'll lose the ball. He can only go 2 dribbles and picks it up. He falls down. And that's a guy that has the biggest contract in the NBA. That's why people get frustrated with the NBA for that right there. Literally that reason is because they don't take enough pride in the fundamentals and people get tired of watching it. They get tired of some of the slop. So now in the playoffs, things are different. Game slows down. Guys play a little bit differently. That's why if you can get to the NBA finals, or not the finals, but you as a fan, if you can get past all the garbage and get to the NBA playoffs and actually be engaged, you actually see really good basketball in the NBA playoffs. You do. But it's the other 82 games that people just can't get past. They just can't get past it. So it's crazy. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I love basketball. I do. I love college basketball more than the NBA, but let's not kid ourselves. It is the greatest basketball on the planet. The greatest basketball on the planet. So, but like I said, you got to be able to get past the fluff if you're going to engage in the NBA. You got to get past it. My man, Bill Kernan, Joker worked on his game and saw what he needed to make himself great. No time off in the offseason. I respect that even as a Sixers fan. Yeah. I mean, think about Joker when he came into the league. He was a second-round pick. Nobody thought he was going to be any good, but he got better. He got better. So, and I think, and this is a great point by Golf Hawk. TikTok, my man over here on YouTube says, Jokic is great for the league. He proved that skill fundamentals work. Joker game transcends all eras. I mean, name one he can't play in. And that's the truth. What era could Joker not play in and dominate? What era? He could play in any era. It just goes to show you don't have to be the most athletic guy to go out there and be a good basketball player at his size. I mean, but, even Luka. Luka's not the most athletic guy, but he's also not 6'2", But Steph Curry isn't the most athletic guy either. But he changed the way basketball is played because he was really good at shooting threes, which is the problem is because everybody wants to be Steph Curry and they're not. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Big Nick, what about Luka? I love Luka. I think here, I'm biased. I can 100% say that I am biased when it comes to basketball players because I'm from Indiana. I grew up right across the river from Louisville. That's why I say I'm from Louisville. And my 2 favorite basketball players ever are Larry Bird and Oscar Robertson. Those are my 2 favorite. Larry Bird wasn't athletic. Now, Oscar Robertson was athletic. extremely athletic. But that was a different time. But that's why I just like basketball players. And when people always say Larry Bird couldn't play today, you get these 20-year-old. Larry Bird would just be mid today. Really? 6'10", could shoot, handle, move without the ball, high basketball IQ. Him and Luka don't play the same, but there's nothing on a basketball court that Luka does better than Larry Bird. But somehow Larry Bird wouldn't be able to play. Somehow he would just be an average guy today. Okay. Okay. I just don't understand. Look at my man, Chuck. Chuck Miller got on me. Stop glazing. Stop glazing, Larry Bird. I love it. I love it. Yeah, man. I'm a basketball guy. I like basketball players. I think it's because when I was good in high school, and I have no problem saying I was good in high school, but a lot of people were good in high school. I wasn't an athletic guy. I knew how to play. I understood how to play basketball, and that's kind of what I did. And that was good enough to get me a scholarship to Xavier to play basketball. So I think I was pretty good at it. So Bird in the top 5 all time. I don't know if he's top 5 Redneck Patriot. I don't know if Bird's top 5, but he's definitely in the top 7, if not the top 5. Definitely in the top 7, if he's not top 5. That would be my thing. So, and yes, in Bird's era, defense was a must. There wasn't as much space as there is now in the NBA, too. You know, we talk bad about the NBA, and I get it. But the problem with that is the way the rules are, there's so much more space now than what there used to be. I mean, they could change that if they wanted to change it, just the defensive 3-second rule. If you allowed a guy to camp out in the lane, that would change all of that. But they changed that rule, so you can't do that anymore, so there's way more space now. You know, there's just way more space. But either way, we're going to move on. And I like this next topic. But before we get there, just as a reminder, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time, we are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube, man. I'm telling you, come and join Big B Daily. If you're not already and you come every day, make it part of your morning. Make it part of your morning, people. 9 a.m. TikTok, keep tapping the screen. We're almost to 5,000 likes. We got about 1,000 to go. We need at least 30 new follows. So if you're not in here, if you're following, or if you're not following, please give us a follow. Please give us a follow. So, and more importantly, on TikTok, click on that YouTube link and come and join us and subscribe to Big B Sports Talk over on YouTube. I'm just telling you, the live is better over there. You get access to a lot more content on YouTube than you do on TikTok. So come and subscribe. We appreciate it, man. All right. Now let's get into this. Top 5 wide receivers all time. Now, somebody jumped in. My man Tyreek Hill, he jumped in and said, who are you talking about, or who am I taking in their prime? Antonio Brown or Julio Jones? I would say I'm going to take Antonio Brown. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm biased, but I mean, tell me something that Antonio Brown didn't do that Julio Jones did do. That's all I'm going to say. What did Julio do that Antonio Brown couldn't do? Or not only couldn't do, that he didn't do. So, and yes, Antonio Brown turned crazy. No denying that. Became a locker room cancer and turned crazy. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But when he was on the field before all of that happened, he was that dude. For 6 years, he was that dude. So, but anyway, let's get to the list. Let's get to the list. Top 5 NFL wide receivers of all time. Here's the thing. Does everybody, I'm thinking everybody except lunatics, will say that Jerry Rice is number one. So let's just start there. Jerry Rice, number one, and let's move past that. Now we got to get to the 2 through 5. And it gets tricky because a lot of people say Randy Moss. A lot of people say Terrell Owens. I'm going to say T.O. T.O. is more of a complete receiver than Randy Moss. Randy was outstanding. Randy was electric. At the deep ball, he redefined the deep ball because not only was it a deep ball, it was a deep, 50-50 ball that turned into basically an 85-15 ball when you threw it up and deep to Randy. He was coming down with it. Like, you didn't throw 50-50 balls to Randy. You threw it up there because 85% of the time, he's the guy that's coming down with it because he was that athletic. So, Parsons Brown said Jerry Rice literally just has the rings. I'm sorry, my guy. I apologize. We have to stop in the middle of this because we got crazy people over here on TikTok saying that Jerry Rice only has rings. Also, what Jerry Rice happens to have is every single receiving record other than the most yards in an NFL game. Other than that, he has every receiving record. But if we're just saying he just has rings, count every other receiving record along with that, and then we can move on. So let's just start there, and then we can move on. I apologize. I feel like when people, you all know me, I'm a fair guy, but when you say something stupid, I'm going to call you stupid. So number 2, I got T.O. Number 3, I got Randy Moss. Now, here is where it gets spicy, people. Here is where it gets spicy. I am a Larry Fitzgerald fan. I love Fitzgerald. But is he better than Megatron? That, to me, it's tough. I mean, here's the thing. The thing about Fitzgerald that makes it so tough, when a wide receiver has more tackles than drop passes in his NFL career, that's a special guy. You know what I'm saying? The guy has more tackles than drops. So, is he better than Megatron? I want to put Fitzgerald ahead of him, but I just can't do it. I can't do it. I got Fitzgerald at 5. First of all, Fitzgerald's not less than 5. So let's not stop the madness there and thinking I'm just putting him at 10 or something. No. But Megatron was just that guy. Calvin Johnson was that dude. He just was. And he could do a lot. He got hurt. Not going to say he didn't get hurt, but he could do a lot. Had great hands, fast, run, jump, catch, over the middle, deep, slant. He had the route tree. That's the one thing. If Randy Moss had the route tree, he would unquestionably be the best receiver ever. But he didn't do that. So that's the thing. That's my thing. Is Megatron over Fitzgerald. Megatron over Fitzgerald. I like Megatron. I like Fitzgerald. I want to put Fitzgerald at 4, but I won't. Megatron is it. So we got Jerry Rice, T.O., Moss, Megatron, Fitzgerald. Now, y'all start shooting me your list. So I did see something on TikTok. My man, Redneck Patriot, where do you put Largent? Largent is in the top 10. Probably around 9 to 10. But first of all, Redneck Patriot, do you know how many of these people on TikTok that don't even know who Steve Largent is? That would be the one thing. There are so many people that don't even know who Steve Largent even is. And Steve Largent was that dude. Not to mention, before Jerry Rice, guess who had all the receiving records, people? It was Steve Largent. So, Steve Largent, top 25, you're out of your mind, dude. Stop it. I love you. Lee and Daddy, come on. Steve Largent is much higher than top 25, man. And I think you know that. I think you know that. You just don't want to admit that he's up there. Why? I don't know. But Steve Largent, if you put Steve Largent at top 25, the number 25 of all-time receivers, there's no respect that goes to your list. That goes for everybody. Anybody that would put Steve Largent at 20 or less, your list is literally not respectable. Not at all. Not at all. Steve Largent is a top 10 wide receiver. Period. End of story. Period. End of story. So, Golf Hawk says Larry is second all-time in receiving as far as catches. And Calvin Johnson is 40th. I mean, he played longer, so he's going to have more. But if you watch film, Golf Hawk, who do you think was better? I mean, come on now. And I like this list from Golf Hawk. He said Jerry Rice, Fitzgerald, T.O., Randy Moss, Steve Smith. Okay. I mean, okay. If you're putting Steve Smith in your top 5, and you do say it's a personal bias, but Larry Fitzgerald is not the second best wide receiver ever. He's not. That's not being objective. That's not being objective. Yeah, Steve Smith is not top 5. And we all love Steve Smith, too. That's the thing, is that you don't have to say that somebody is not in the top 5 and oh, well, he's terrible. No, not at all. It just means he's not a top 5 receiver. That's all. It's okay. Hell, I think Steve Smith, you know how honest Steve Smith is. Steve Smith will even tell you he wasn't a top 5 receiver all time. And you know how feisty Steve Smith is. So my man Jacob Berger says Marvin Harrison over Fitz. No. And I love Marvin Harrison, but he wasn't better than Fitz. But Marvin Harrison's another guy that belongs in the top 10 as well. He's another guy that belongs in the top 10. And where do we put Antonio Brown? Let's talk about that for a second. Does the Antonio Brown, because for 6 years, who was better than Antonio Brown? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. Who was better than Brown? I mean, is Antonio Brown in your top 10? Is he in your top 15? I think he has to be in the top 15. Top 10, maybe not. But I think he has to be in the top 15. So, my man Perk, you're right. AB is such a confusing case. Could have been a top 5, ends up top 25. I think you're right on that. Right on the money with that, Mr. Perk. Right on the money. Antonio Brown was on a trajectory to be a top 5 all-time receiver. And then he blew himself up. He literally blew himself up. Poured gasoline on himself and lit himself on fire and blew himself up. Never seen it. Well, I shouldn't say I've never seen anything like it. Actually, I don't know that I have. Not at the professional level. I mean, we've seen people blow their careers up that weren't any good. But have we ever seen, and y'all can remind me, have we ever seen in the NFL where a guy that was that good just literally incinerated his career with nonsense? Have we seen anybody do that? I don't think we have. Aaron Hernandez was never that good. So, good point, Scarface. You can't hide head injuries. Plaxico Burress was not even in the same realm as Antonio Brown. Nah. So, yeah, he's not even on the same realm. So, I got a lot of people saying CTE is a no bueno. Cam got hurt. Cam didn't blow up his career. Cam got hurt. Good list. Rice, Fitz, Moss, T.O., Julio, Hopkins. I take that back. That's not a good list. That's not a good list. So, you don't have Megatron on your list and you got Fitz up there. Come on. No. Santonio Holmes had a chance at one time. he had a chance, but again, he became a diva. He left Pittsburgh. His career was over. How many times are we going to see that? How many? I mean, here's the thing about the Steelers franchise. First of all, how good are the Pittsburgh Steelers at drafting wide receivers? How good are they? Aren't they the best ever of any franchise of getting receivers? And then they get these guys. They get their production. They get their production out of them. And then they start turning crazy, and the Steelers like, you can go. You can go. We'll get somebody else. You can go. How many times have we seen it? Man, I don't know what they do. I don't know what the DNA is. I don't know, but they just continuously will bring in guys. Then guys start acting crazy in Pittsburgh. Yeah, no, you can go. Goodbye. So, crazy. Michael Irvin and Chris Carter being in what? The top 10? I don't know. I think Chris Carter's got a better case than Michael Irvin. I don't have Michael Irvin in the top 10. I'm not sure I got Michael Irvin in the top 15. Matter of fact, I don't. Doesn't mean, here's the thing. Doesn't mean he wasn't great. Doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, because he does. But when you're just talking top 15, I think you can get to a lot of guys before you get to Michael Irvin, can't you? I shouldn't say a lot of guys, but I think you can get to 15 before you come to Michael Irvin. So, I think you can get to 15 before you get to Michael Irvin. So, hold on. Somebody's calling somebody. Oh, broke. Yeah. Some people, don't worry about it, man. People come on TikTok and they'll say anything. You know how 20-year-olds are that are living in their mother's basement. Let it go. Tyreek Hill will be in the top 15. Or top 10, he says. Tyreek Hill will finish up in the top 10. I don't know. I mean, he's got to keep going, but I think Tyreek Hill can probably get there. So, probably. So I think Tyreek Hill can probably get there. Sorry, I got to get somebody out of TikTok that was being disrespectful to other people in here. I apologize. So, Calvin Johnson is at number 4. So, let's go over the list again. Rice 1, T.O. 2, Moss 3, Megatron 4, Fitz 5. Is Marvin Harrison 6? Is Marvin Harrison 6? Is Chris Carter 8? Steve Largent 9. Who's number 7? I don't have Julio in that. I don't have Julio in the top 10. I don't. Antonio Brown, is he 8? Is he 7? It's interesting. A lot of people say Fitz over Megatron. I tried to get there, but I can't. Antonio Brown is not top 3. You got to stop saying that, man. You got to stop. Because you're already saying that Steve Largent's top 25. Now you're saying that Antonio Brown is top 3. I mean, I love you, brother. I do. But you got to stop. You got to stop with the nonsense. I'm with you. So, Antonio Brown is better than Ocho Cinco. I mean, what are we talking about here? Harrison was just flat out better than Fitz. No, he wasn't. I mean, and on no planet is Marvin Harrison better than Larry Fitzgerald. He's not better than him. And that, again, doesn't mean that Marvin Harrison wasn't phenomenal. But so was Larry Fitzgerald. Nobody's sleeping on A.J. Green, but we're talking about the best receivers of all time. A.J. Green doesn't qualify for that. That's the thing. So, who are some underrated wide receivers of all time? Now that is a good conversation. That is a good conversation. Who are some of the most? Steve Smith comes to mind as being an underrated. Hines Ward, yeah. Just because Hines Ward was so complete, because, I mean, I think it's probably universally known Hines Ward was the best blocking wide receiver out there. Andre Johnson, because he played on bad teams. Yeah. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, we talked about that, Austin, about Larry Fitzgerald had more career tackles than drops. Yeah, I just think it's nuts that people somehow just don't think, because Larry Fitzgerald wasn't the fastest guy in the world, somehow they don't think he was any good. And, well, he didn't have over 1,600 yards as in a season. Well, look who his quarterback was. I mean, look who his quarterbacks were. His best quarterback was Carson Palmer or Kurt Warner. I mean, he didn't play with Peyton Manning. If he did, and they threw the ball as much, do you think he would have had more yards? Yeah, he would have. Come on now. Chris Carter being underrated? Yeah, Chris Carter and Tim Brown for sure. For sure. Perk says Hall of Fame Kurt Warner only played there. He was only a Hall of Fame Kurt Warner for a season and a half in Arizona. Let's not kid ourselves. He didn't play like 5 years great in Arizona. That's not what happened. Mike Evans is definitely underrated as far as all-time receivers. Terry McLaurin is not even in the class of any of these people that we just got mentioned. Now, maybe right now, Terry McLaurin, but as far as all-time best receivers, come on, people. We're not talking about right now. So somebody over on YouTube said Brandon Cooks. We're talking about the most over or underrated receivers of all time, not currently. Not currently. Torrey Holt. Yeah, I think so. So, Torrey Holt. So we'll see. That's a good topic, though. That's a good topic. We're going to open it up to the Q&A section right now. So we're having a good day today. We're going to push this one out. Usually we do about between 45 and 55 minutes, but we're having a good conversation today. So we're going to ride this thing out for a little bit, man. And on TikTok, we are going to look to bring somebody up if you guys want to come up. Now, again, don't be talking crazy, because you know how I'll do it. You know I'll make fun of you. So don't be talking crazy. Don't you do it. But we're going to get you up here and get it going if anybody wants to. So any topic y'all want. So I know, Jacob, you're going to die on that hill that Marvin Harrison was better, but he isn't. And I'm not changing my mind. You can put up anything that you want. I'm not dying on the hill that Marvin Harrison was better. Sorry. Love Marvin Harrison. Not better than Fitz. So, because I don't think that he's better. That's my reasoning. I watch football just like you. You throw up a bunch of stats when he played with one of the best quarterbacks ever. This guy didn't play with that. I mean, that's my reasoning. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald put up his stats when the best quarterback he played with over time was Kurt Warner or Carson Palmer. And again, that was 2 or 3 seasons at a time. There was a decade where his quarterback, you don't even know who it was. And he still put up those kinds of numbers. That's the point. Let's see here. Somebody wants to come up. Let's talk about it.
Hey, brother. Nice.
What is going on, man? What's happening?
Hey, man, I like your show. I like the list. I'm just not sold on Megatron. I know you like him, and he's good. Don't just hear me out.
I hear you out.
Couple good years. I mean,
there's more than a couple. Don't say a couple.
Okay, well, let's look at baseball, man. You don't
No,
you
no,
don't
no, no,
put
no. This is not baseball. Stick to
no
football.
no no. All right, it's the same analogy. Just hear me out, man. You got what's his face that had the record for a while, 61 home runs,
Okay.
few good years, MVP.
Oh,
He's the
hold
Megatron
on.
of baseball.
Hold on. Roger Maris is not in the same stratosphere as a player as what Calvin Johnson is. Not in the same
You
stratosphere.
got to do it. You got to do it consistently as a wide receiver, man. Then
he
you put
did.
anybody in, man.
Well, he's in the Hall of Fame.
4 years, man.
He only had 4 good
so
years.
Was Dan Deerdoff.
Dan Deerdoff was one of the best offensive linemen when he played.
He had 1,800 yards. That was a great year. But Rice was consistent. Fitz was consistent.
18, or did he have? Did he almost break the 2,000-yard mark?
He almost broke the 2,000-yarder.
That was in a different season.
That's what got him in the Hall of Fame.
So that's it? 1 year got him in the Hall of Fame?
4 good years, 1 great year.
And other than that, he wasn't good. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying he was not good.
Okay, then.
He's top 10. He's probably 10. He's 10.
Okay.
But you're putting him way too high. When you got T.O., you got Harrison, you got Moss, you got Fitz doesn't get any love.
Well, hold on.
And Fitz is second all time, I believe.
I put Fitz at 5. You act like I put him at 40. T.O. I had ahead of him.
How you going to put him at
Moss I had ahead of him.
Second in receiving yards. And how you putting Moss ahead of him? Moss played with a lot better quarterbacks.
Who?
He played with
Tom Brady for 2 years.
He played with
Randall Cunningham for a year. Keep going.
Yep.
Dante Culpepper.
Better than
Who was his quarterbacks in
Dante
Oakland?
Culpepper wasn't bad.
Who was his quarterbacks in Oakland? You don't know. Just say you don't know.
Was an MVP.
Who?
Rich Gannon was
not his quarterback in Oakland. Stop it. Stop making up stuff. No, he wasn't. So keep going on all these quarterbacks that he played with. No. And Fitz is great. He is. But let me just ask you this.
Then you're not even talking about Shannon Sharp, whose career was.
Well, he was a tight end.
He'd probably been up there.
He was a tight end.
Or I meant the brother.
Well, That's not what you said.
Excuse me. I stand corrected.
And what about him? He didn't play long enough.
He's like you just proved my point. That's like Megatron.
Well, Megatron played longer than him and has better stats than he does. I mean, 12,000 yards in 9 years. I mean, the guy was hurt. I get it. But you act like Megatron wasn't any good.
And put Chris Johnson in the Hall of Fame.
Who's Chris Johnson? The running back?
Yeah.
Why?
He had 2,000 yards.
Okay. What else did he do?
There you go. Again, you're proving my point.
So you're saying that Megatron only had 1 good year and he didn't do anything else. Is that what you're saying?
9 years, 12.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you, is that what you're saying? I mean, if that's what you're saying. Oh, now he's on Google.
Oh, we agree. No, I'm not on Google. We agree to disagree, man. Okay.
Okay. Well, then I'm fine disagreeing. I'm just saying.
It's all good.
If he's not any good, just say you don't think he's any good.
No, he's good.
Or if you think he only had 1 good year, just say he only had 1 good year.
You're twisting words, bud.
Well, I'm asking you. I literally asking you.
Where did you put him? Let me ask
5,
you that.
I put him at 4.
You put him at 4. So who'd you put him? You put him over like guys like Moss, Harrison?
No, I didn't. I put him over Harrison and Fitz.
There's no way he's over Fitz. There's no way.
Well, there is a way, and
Fitz is second all time, and Fitz was consistent.
And Johnson wasn't?
Oh my God, Fitz almost took a haphazard Phoenix team, and they should have won the Super Bowl. The Steelers stole that one.
How'd they steal it?
Oh, come on, the referees on that game, that was a joke.
Oh, so you're an Arizona fan.
No, I'm not. I'm a Niners fan.
Okay,
but
because the referees were a joke.
Team was horrible. That team was horrible. He carried them through the playoffs. I mean, Kurt Warner had a
Arizona. That Arizona Cardinals team was horrible.
They were bad. They shouldn't have beat Green Bay.
But they did beat them.
Yeah, because of him. He had a freaking phenomenal playoff run.
So he was on the team, right?
Times.
He was on the team, right?
Kurt had to throw to him.
That's not what I asked you. He was on the team, right?
He was on the team.
So then they weren't horrible. Because he's not horrible.
Them, but he carried them.
Okay. That happens.
He had one of the best playoff runs ever. And
he absolutely did.
What did Megatron win? Nothing.
Well, that wasn't, I mean, what good team was he on?
He had Scott Mitchell.
That's not what I asked you. First of all, it was Matthew Stafford. So what good team was he on?
He wasn't on a good
There
team.
you go. You don't win when you're not on a good team in football.
But he didn't carry a bad
team. You don't win when you're not on a good team on a football team. You don't win. Period. End of story. We appreciate you coming up.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, my God. I mean, he blamed the refs. What are we doing, people? He blamed the refs. He said they weren't any good. A team that was in the Super Bowl was a play away from winning the Super Bowl. They're not any good. What? Okay. I apologize. But we love everybody. We love everybody. Let's bring somebody else up. Let's bring some other people up.
What's up, Big B?
What is going on, my man? What is happening?
No, hey, it's the first time I actually came in here. I love your show.
I appreciate it.
And yeah, I love that the fact you busted my chops and Steve Largent. It's okay.
Steve Largent is that guy. You got to stop.
Okay. All right. But you know what? It's okay. But you know what? I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
I love, hey, go Steelers, baby.
Yes, sir.
You know what? But my only thing was my point was I felt like players like Lynn Swan, Stallworth, because hey, I'm 50 years old, but I look 35. But guess what? I've been around football a long time. I only base it on the players I've watched. And yeah, I agree. Fitzgerald was a beast. I mean, oh my God, he's a beast. Calvin Johnson, amazing. Never had a quarterback. Nope. It's just so hard to judge, sometimes. But there's so many great receivers in the history of which I've seen, and I do put Antonio Brown and he's in my top 5 because I've never seen receivers do what he's done, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson's in the top 5. Now, he did have a quarterback. I mean, Stafford was good. They just didn't have a good team. Their team just wasn't any good.
True. I forget about that. Correct, yes.
And the organization was horrible, but yeah. So you can't say Stafford wasn't any good because he's good. Their team was just bad. Matt, what's going on, man?
Not too much. How you doing, man?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So I appreciate you coming up and joining the show, man. What do you got? What do you got for us?
All right. So what is your opinion on Johnny?
On who?
I can never fucking pronounce his name. I'm sorry. Joker.
Oh, on Jokic.
Yeah.
I think Jokic is the best player in the league.
Oh, by far.
I think he's the best player in the league. I was okay with giving Embiid the MVP last year because I think Embiid deserved it. Even though Jokic had a great year, I thought Embiid's was better. But that doesn't mean that his lead. Somebody washing their hands. There we go. That doesn't mean that he wasn't one of the best players. It doesn't mean that. But I think Jokic is the best player in the NBA.
Oh, by far.
But yeah, if that's what you're asking me, I think he's the best player in the NBA.
Okay. Yeah. I thought with the question that you asked up there, it was contradicting that. And I was like,
oh, no. No, he's the best player in the NBA. Now, do I think there are other great players? Absolutely, there are other great players.
Oh
But as far as what Jokic does, that doesn't. Now, here's the thing: because you're the best player in the NBA, that doesn't mean you should get the MVP every year. Because if that's the case, how come Michael Jordan doesn't have 12 MVPs? Or why doesn't LeBron have 8 MVPs? Or why does Kobe only have 1?
Now, but my question is how do you not give him the MVP when he leads the team to, a title?
What do you mean?
Was that? It wasn't last year. It was the year before. Sorry.
Well, here's the thing. Title, you gotta remember the NBA, the voting supposedly ends at the end of the regular season.
Okay.
So that again, supposedly ends at the regular season. So if it ends at the end of the regular season, then that would be where the difference comes in. Is that it's a regular season award. So whether you lead your team to the title, that part doesn't matter because, again, they got a different award that they give out for MVP of the finals.
That's true. All right. So here's another question for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have your top 5 wide receivers. Who are your top 5 cornerbacks?
We'll get to that a different day. We'll get to that a different day. And you're talking about cornerbacks all time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I can tell you right now, Dion is first, and the gap between 1 and 2 is a lot further than it is between 2 and 5. I'll say that. And
yeah.
The next person that will come to my list will be Rod Woodson. And a lot of people that are younger think, oh, Rod Woodson was a safety. No, Rod Woodson was a dynamite corner before he moved to safety when he got older.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be my thing. I mean, we'll cover it on a different day, but I love that conversation because it's Dion and everybody else. But let's not kid ourselves. Rod Woodson was spectacular as a corner. Spectacular.
Oh, there's no question he was. Nah, we won't get into that because
no, go ahead.
That conversation could go on forever.
Yeah. We'll cover that a different day, my man. I promise you we'll cover it a different day.
Definitely. So who are your top 5 for wide receivers then?
It is Rice, T.O., Randy Moss, Megatron, and Fitzgerald.
Sorry. Yeah, that's hard to argue with, honestly.
People are mad that I got Fitz so low that I have Megatron ahead of him, but I just go by what I see.
Megatron was a different beast, man.
He was hurt. He got hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't play. I mean, he didn't play as long as Fitz. Fitz was durable and played longer, but I like Megatron better. Somebody saying Fitz is not top 5, they're out of their mind. Come on.
Oh, 100%.
Come on. Fitz is absolutely top 5. So.
Yeah, no, I can't even argue with you on that top 5, honestly.
I got you. I appreciate it, man. We're going to shut down the show. So thank you for coming up, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. You have a good night, man.
You too. All right, everybody. Thank you, guys. We are going to shut this one down for today. I appreciate everybody coming in here. We will do this on Friday. We're going to start having a list every Friday on best players from a specific position. It was fun today. I know a lot of people, they want Fitz ahead of Megatron. I can't do it. Want Marvin Harrison ahead of Megatron. Can't do it. But that's what makes this fun, man. I appreciate it. So, by the way, I don't know if y'all can see, I got my Goon Squad shirt on today. We are working on the link. I'm working on some back end stuff. So as soon as I get all of that together, man, as soon as I get it together, I promise we will get this out to you guys. But the old Goon Squad shirt, I like how it turned out. It's okay. It is okay. So as soon as we get the back end resolved, we will get the links up. We'll definitely get it on TikTok Shop. We'll get it out on YouTube. We'll get it out everywhere so you guys can start getting some. Make it make sense. We'll have those out there. Fraud of the week. We will definitely have those as well. So we appreciate everybody for being in here, man. Thank you guys for taking the time today. If you, like I said, TikTok, we love you. YouTube, we love you. We will be back on Monday. Other than that, everybody have a great weekend. Dive into some college basketball this weekend, man. March Madness is almost here. We love you. Aloha.